Hi everyone, and welcome to a new episode of Days Podcast along with a new video. I want to thank you guys so much for liking, subscribing, viewing, watching, and listening. I truly appreciate it. We will be doing more content over time. Just bear with me as far as with exclusives on Patreon and Spotify. I have, however, been able to make a great spreadsheet and just update as much as I can to learn all of what I'm going to be able to provide for us. It's important. So, today we are going to talk about John B's debut album, Bonafide. Okay, this is a new artist we get to talk about. So let's get into it. So Bonafide is the debut studio album by American singer John B. It was released on May 23rd, 1995 on the Epic Records subsidiary 550 Music. Wait a damn minute. May 23rd, 1995. 3 days before I turned 1? Okay. I would have had more. Well, I can't say too much because a year prior, on May 24th, before I was born, Aaliyah came out. So it was like I couldn't really. I could embrace it maybe as a baby, but I couldn't really understand. But then again, no. When I was about 1.5, 2 years old, I remembered fully what You Want This, the music video, was looking like and everything. So, memory for kids back in my day in the 90s, and even kids now, they're not too far-fetched. It depends on how much you're able to see. Okay, so I want parents to know out there, if your child seems a bit smarter than what you would expect them to be, that's because there's more to expose. So make sure, be a parent, yeah, okay, and know that there's a lot that you have to teach. And of course, parents learn that over time. I ain't gonna tell nobody to be a parent. I'm not a parent yet. I'm fair, okay? But at the same time, I'm gonna say that when I do become one, I will learn just as much as I was learning back in the day. That receiving things damn near like a sponge is really real. Like, people really learn fast. Okay. The music here, let's see here. Wow, music. Oh wow. Okay. Sorry guys, I was looking at something totally different. So the album was the first recording released on Tracy Edmonds' record label Yab Yum Records, which fit 550 Music distributed. Okay, it includes the Grammy-nominated first single "Someone to Love" featuring Babyface. The song was originally featured on the soundtrack to the 1995 Will Smith and Martin Lawrence action comedy Bad Boys, which we will talk about too. I need y'all to know we talk about movies and TV and all types of stuff around here. I just want to make sure that I collectively give them all the best way I can. Also included is the second single, Pretty Girl, and the final single, Isn't It Scary? So yeah, as far as when this album was recorded, it was recorded May 1994, so literally within a year's time. May 1994 to April 1995. Let's see here. AllMusic described the songs on the album as sweetly sung paeans to the late night nasties, pure acts of musical seduction. Bonafide is a mix of dance tunes and ballads with slinky beats and shadowy moods that suggest late nights in a jazz or blues club. And that was one thing that I really enjoy and do still enjoy, as far as John B. and among a lot of R&B artists that kind of tap into like blues and jazz when it comes to their songs, because that's still very much relevant. And I love classical music, which I would love to take the time on this channel to dive deep more into classical music, jazz, and blues, and things like that. Because you would be surprised at the things that are sampled. You'd be surprised that how some things sound so similar, but because there's a tone different from another, it's like, oh well, it's not the same. It's like, well, it does sound similar, and it's like it goes there. Yes. The sound of Bonafide is seductive enough, but John B's sexiest tool is his voice, which has the slurred quality of bedroom talk and still manages to swoop gracefully over melodic choruses. And I did research the fact that he is actually from Rhode Island, so he was actually my neighbor state-wise, because I live in Massachusetts. So it's like, for someone to be not even an hour or even 45 minutes away, just going off and doing this. But I'm, of course, going to Los Angeles and California and all that to kind of record it. But it's just like, you was right there. That's that, and it's cool. It's cool to know, like, when you kind of see artists, even for those that I may have talked about already, where they're from different, states, whether it's Florida, New York, or Atlanta, whatever case may be, where you guys can be able to be like, oh wow, they were they around from where I'm from. Like, oh yeah, you'd be surprised. Bonafide was a favorite of rapper Tupac Shakur. Okay, because us Geminis, when we love something, and then you got time to be releasing on Gemini season. One thing, and I will refer to a Gemini episode that I have already made where I talk about my sign. One thing that you will notice about a Gemini, no matter what Gemini you look at on this world, even me, one thing that you will hear us do is tell you something we may do. Now, if we do it, that's one thing. If we don't do it, that's another. That is when you can decide on the type of Gemini that you can see and who you're around. Because there's most Geminis that will do it. And then there's some that won't, because you'll realize later on they didn't have to do it at that time. Okay? There's a difference. It's not so much that we won't do something. We may not do it now. We may not do it later. Or better yet, we may have already did it. You never know. But it's never in a bad way. In most cases. Don't try a Gemini. Just kidding. But yeah, Tupac, he was one of those people, just like Biggie and just like Kendrick and just like okay, Lauren Hill don't be around too many people either. Just we know who to know. Okay, just let me just refer to the Gemini video episode whenever you guys get a chance. John B is strictly a Scorpio, so we will leave that for a Scorpio sense when you want to look at John B's commentary playlist, because I make playlists for every artist that I talk about and every topic. So if you're ever wanting to look at any artist that you feel that I have talked about, you'll notice a video of their sign. So that way you can be more in tune to the type of personality that they have as opposed to the music that they are giving us. So I always try to make sure it's very interesting. Hopefully I do. No, I do. The two met each other by way of a mutual friend on the set of Shakur's How Do You Want It? Okay, so wait a minute. Let me find out John B was in the building talking about how do you want it? Wait a minute. I did not know, which prompted them to work together. The end result was the collaboration Are You Still Down, which appeared on John B's following album, Cool Relax. Oh, and it's something. We will talk about that album too. Of course, that is very much acclaimed because, the song, They Don't Know, and of course, Are You Still Down? We need to talk about those. But this is where he started, okay? Bonafide peaked at number 79 on the US Billboard 200. By July 1985, the album had sold 58,000 copies. On August 1st, 1996, it was certified gold by the Recording Academy for shipments figures in excess of 500,000 copies. So within a year's time, it went gold, and honestly, that tends to happen too, unfortunately, whether it's R&B or even just for artists that are starting out. A lot of times they may not get the recognition or enough marketing or enough of a sense of being able to do more to promote. Okay. And I can't say that that's fully the issue here. I think that, debuting at number 79, I have been saying, and I do mean when I say that if you're in the top 40, it's not too bad because you're really seen. I feel like 79 is like he's seen, but not as seen, in the top 40, like, no, you're being seen because it can grow to you being, towards the top 20 over time if you're really out there and going off. But yeah. As far as the track list goes, let's see. There's track 1, which is Bonafide. Track 2, okay, yes, Jonathan Buck. He wrote that himself. Yes, track 2 is Simple Melody featuring Bootsy Collins. Track 3 is Love is Candy. Track 4 is Mystery for Two. Track 5, Someone to Love featuring Babyface. Track 6, Time After Time. Track 7, Overflow. Track 8, Pretty Girl. Track 9, Pants Off. Track 10, Isn't It Scary? Track 11, Burning for You. Track 12, Gone Before Light. Track 13, Love Don't Do. Okay. So yeah, there was 13 tracks. And as far as with the chart performance, yes, he was at number 79 on Billboard 200. And the US top R&B hip hop albums, he was number 24. So he wasn't doing too bad, but by the end of the year, he did not chart anymore. There had been more albums that had released, and then of course 96, we're having people come out left and right. In 97 too. So yeah, I gotta say this wasn't a bad album, but it was, like I said, for a few artists, their start. And where they were able to either do better by their second album or do worse, as opposed to if they were doing really well with their first album and may have not did as good by their second. It all depends. But I thank you guys so much for listening and watching, and I'll be back with more.